I know that you are a strong advocate for moving from hourly fees to value-based pricing. Could you share your journey? Because have you been always pricing per value, or have you ever priced hourly?
When I went out on my own, I promised myself to understand two things. The first was that this is a relationship business and you had to sell yourself. You had to be involved in a relationship with a buyer. The second thing is I would never sell to any buyer based on a time unit or a box of materials or a day in a classroom. And the reason is, and I pioneered value-based fees for consultants in the 90s. One of my books is called Value-Based Fees. It's in its third edition. What I found was not just that I could make a lot more money with value-based fees. I mean, that's obvious, but you're in an unethical relationship. If you're in a relationship where the client is best served by a rapid response, but the consultant is best served by staying there forever, billing by the hour. And I don't want to be in a relationship that's unethical. Also, real wealth is discretionary time. And if you bill by the hour, you're never going to have much discretionary time if you want to make money.
With the value-based pricing, because I moved to value-based pricing after I read your books, actually, and that's one of the best things that I've done for my business. Because I recognize that even when I'm walking out to clear my mind, I'm thinking about the project, and there is no end to the marketing world, and as is also for the consulting world. But I find I struggle a lot with time management because value is something not always countable, like you cannot count it, and the value can increase a lot. So the long story short, I'm struggling a lot with time management. What would you suggest me to do in that time management part?
Well, there are three ways to reduce your labor intensity. One way is to streamline your business model, and not enough consultants do that. There are 6 steps to my sales process. Well, maybe there needn't be 6 steps to your sales process. Maybe the client's already good at 2 of them. And so consultants who come in with a program, with a model to superimpose structure are going to spend much too much time. In fact, the sleekest way to provide value for a client is on an advisory basis, where there is very little labor involved, except what we're doing now, really, discussions like this remotely. The second way to reduce labor is by having the client perform the labor. You give the work to the client. And so if there's research to be done, if there are statistics to be gathered, you let the client do that. Now, if you have to do interviews, you do that yourself. You can't have client people interviewing client people. But in many cases, you can have the client do the information gathering. Then the third way is to hire subcontractors and use subcontractors whom you trust, whom you use often, and they can do a training program, or they can facilitate a panel, or they can talk to people, or they can observe, and so on. So you have these 3 ways to simplify what you do in lower labor intensity. But if you're going to make more and more money, and it's going to force you to engage in more and more labor, that's not a good way to live.